Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. It's a real pleasure to have you join me this evening and talk to a guy that I've been very impressed with. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him before, meeting him and chatting. He is an award-winning author and transformational soul coach. His name is Kristin Larsen, and he's been writing a book that he's going to tell us a little bit about tonight that he's issued. His writing shares ideas that ignite curiosity to love with courage. Through his coaching, he supports entrepreneurs and coaches, and they connect. And coaches' connection to our hearts lights up our souls, access our inner leaders, so we can enjoy empowered action to live in joy. Wow, Kristin Larsen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
So tell me, what's the book called?
The book is called Joy of Being Mindfully Present, and how to be present and feel joy in life.
And you've just recently published it?
Yes, it was officially released on October 17th, and I appreciate being here to share about it.
Where can we get it?
It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and if you're in Canada, Chapters Indigo.
You say that you help to produce extraordinary results that contribute to increasing people's potential, performance, possibility, and passion. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I approach things from a wholehearted way. So looking at bringing people back into presence and to really enjoy the experiences that they're encountering. And there's a lot of belief work in there as well. So helping people to adjust their mindsets, shift their perspectives, and adapt new ways of doing things, and most specifically, how they're showing up and who they're choosing to be.
What do you mean by that? Choosing to be, how they show up. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So looking at the intention, the choice that they're making, and becoming aware of that choice that they're making. Having awareness for the intention of the actions that they're taking, and in regards to mindset, what ways they're choosing to function in those moments, especially in moments of challenge.
How do you change your mindset?
So that definitely starts with awareness. So in most cases, people don't have that awareness, so they're not able to have that choice, to be able to shift that. And so as a coach, that's how I would help someone to begin to create that awareness, so that when those patterns come up, those instances, they're able to have that awareness and stop and make another choice to shift in how they're choosing what intention they want to function in.
So many people, get triggered by something that's going on, and then they just react, and they don't think that they've got a choice of controlling that reaction. It's like it's the fault of the person who triggered them, or the event that triggered them, and that's their reaction. Isn't that normal, or how do you change that?
Absolutely. I mean, I can definitely relate to that as well. There's definitely phases in my life where I was subconsciously operating in that mode. So it's definitely based on habits. So looking at what habits are contributing to functioning in that way. And I will say, in relation to the book, it's about creating presence and creating joy. So helping someone to create a vision of what that looks like. Once someone has that vision, they're able to start creating that awareness when those moments come up, and they can make the adjustments.
Kristin Larsen, thanks very much for joining us. We're going to take a break and come back in 2 minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about what is presence. How do you create joy? And maybe we're going to get Kristin to read something from his book. Stay with us, everyone. This is going to be an interesting conversation tonight about changing your mindset, controlling those triggers, I guess, and finding joy in life through some of Kristin's ideas in regards to mindset, transformation, joy, etc. Stay with us. Back in 2. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Our topic tonight is transformation, personal transformation. And our guest is Kristin Larsen. He's recently released a book, published a book. We're going to chat about that, maybe hear something from the book. Kristin is an award-winning author and transformational soul coach. His writing shares ideas that ignite curiosity, to love with courage. His coaching supports entrepreneurs and coaches, and he tells people to connect to their heart, light up your soul, access your inner leader so you can take empowered action to live in joy and aliveness each day. Fascinating. Kristin, we had an interesting chat when we chatted before about how you got into coaching. It's a different way than a lot of people do. Tell me a little bit about your personal story, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I've always in the past struggled with different aspects of mental health, and I wanted to find a way and explore to learn more about myself first of all, but also to find a way that I could function in a more effective way in my life. And looking at some of my talents, what my interests are, it led me to coaching, and a lot to do with personal growth. And it evolved from there into learning about coaching and taking coaching courses. So it started off with health coaching, evolved into life coaching, and then moved into transformational coaching. So when we talk about belief work and talking about triggers and things like that, that's where the transformational coaching has really assisted me in my life and assisted me to express my ideas as an author as well.
What is belief coaching?
So transformational coaching has to do with changing beliefs. So we all have beliefs that we form throughout our life. A lot of the strong beliefs start off when we're in our younger years, and they kind of evolve as we're growing in our life. And that's how we form our reality of how we view things. So in order to change that, it requires some pretty deep work to go back and change those beliefs, because those are what we built the foundation on, how we view things and how we function in our life, and it's our place of safety. So to change those, it's a very delicate matter. So in regards to myself, that has been my journey to change those beliefs that I've formed throughout my life.
So I don't know if you're comfortable sharing this, but if you are, tell us what were your beliefs, and how did you change your beliefs, and what are your current beliefs?
Yeah, so I grew up feeling not worthy, not enough, and it would be a lot to do with my own self-talk and how I was thinking about that, and that would validate the things that I was experiencing in my life. That would be what my perspective was. Anything that I was living, it would almost be proof that that was true. Whereas now, I'm changing my mindset on experiences that do come up in my life, and I'm able to do that because of different aspects of having a vision of what presence is, and coming from a place of neutrality. That was another big thing. Instead of viewing things from good or bad or right or wrong, viewing things from a place of growth and opportunity as well.
What do you mean by presence?
So what I mean by presence is being able to let go. That was something else that kind of hindered me in my journey in life, is holding on to experiences or thoughts that I don't want to use the term negative, but that weren't contributing to a way of looking at things from another perspective. So it actually wasn't allowing me to see things from another perspective, such as gratitude, presence. Gratitude is part of presence, and being able to acknowledge not only the opportunities, but also the blessings in life. So that was a big thing for me, presence, and looking at what connection is. So approaching life from a place of wanting to be connected to people, to circumstances.
I got the impression from our prior conversation that you really are a different person today than you were before. Is that fair?
That would definitely be fair to say, yes.
Describe, if you could, the person you were before.
The person I was before. So everyone has judgments, and for me, I was in the past, I was ruled by judgment, and that would be judgment of myself, judgment of others, and judgment of experiences. So today, Obviously there's still judgment, but I'm able to, when we talk about triggers, I'm able to have that presence of mind to stop and have awareness and recognize those triggers and approach things from a place of curiosity. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's changed within myself, is to approach life with curiosity and to also approach things from a place of appreciation as well.
Were your family, were your friends able to come along with you in this journey, or did you have to leave some people behind?
That's a great question. And I believe that when people are used to a way that you're living and how you're functioning, when you start to change, it's something that they've been used to. So it takes them time to adapt as well. So I would say my journey has been gradual. It wasn't a big change all at once, but yeah, there's definitely relationships, friendships that I realized no longer were in service to myself. So making that shift in who I am, then that meant letting go of some of those relationships.
You know, there's a lot of people that have frustration with their current situation in life, but they don't know how to change. And they need a trigger. They need a mentor. They need a coach. They need an event. They need, some people would say, to hit rock bottom before they can actually change. What was it that inspired, motivated, helped you in that change?
Yeah, I think, and it's a tough spot. I understand, because if you're experiencing any suffering or major challenges in life, it's tough to see the choices. So for me, it came down to accountability. It came down to a vision and purpose, and asking myself, what do I want? When I'm able to ask myself what it is that I really want, then you can begin to be curious and formulate some sort of vision and align that with a purpose. And once you have that, it becomes a very powerful motivator to be able to make change.
Was it a book? Was it a session? Was it a conference? Was it walking on coals? What was it that was the catalyst?
Yeah, I believe as many different things. So definitely one was looking at my own. Well, first of all, is taking accountability. I think that's a big key point, is in order to make any change, you have to be accountable, and you have to realize that you're the one that has to do this.
But you know, Kristin, I want to push you here. Like, we should have accountability. What you're suggesting is before you didn't and after you did. So what was it that caused you to want to take accountability?
I believe possibility was one. So when you say what helped me to change, so it was Tony Robbins. So listening to some of his work.
So it was walking on coals.
I didn't specifically do that, but listening to his work to see that there's another way to see perspective in things, because when we're always fixated on one way of thinking, it's hard to switch that. So when you're introduced to another way of thinking, another way of functioning, then it creates possibility. And then I realized that there's other ways. So it started off with listening to, say, Tony Robbins. It started off with exploring some other personal growth work, how I was talking to myself, how I was treating myself, noticing that there's other ways to do that.
And this desire for personal growth, was it caused by hitting rock bottom in something, or caused by just a desire to be different, or what was the catalyst?
Yeah, I believe it was getting to a point where I didn't want to live like that anymore. So I wanted to make those changes, and I wanted to figure out how I could make those changes. So it was, I guess, looking at the how I could do that, what ways I could do that, and looking at resources that could help me to do that. And then, of course, looking at the people that helped other people to do that, and realizing eventually that I wanted to be one of those people that could help other people.
So you not only wanted to change yourself, you wanted to be a coach to help other people change.
Yeah, and I believe that that's where the joy comes in for myself, is being able to share in that connected experience. And I think that, going back to your original question, I wanted connection. I wanted to be connected, and doing the things that I'm doing, that's a way to be connected to people.
When you coach people, what do? Do you put them on a couch, or do you talk to them online? Do you go to a coffee shop to meet them? Like what goes on?
Normally, I would meet them online, but I'm not closed off to having in-person meetings. And normally, it would just be myself and the person, and it's a base sequence, and it's structured. But the main coaching part of it is left open. So it's left open to help the person discover at the beginning what it is that they want, and then going through what's stopping them and the possibilities, and again addressing the mindset and the beliefs around where they're at, meeting them where they're at, and then identifying what's stopping them from getting to where they want to be, and uncovering how they can start moving towards that.
So it sounds like a a good friend, a mentor, someone that can be there just talking and helping you through the process.
Yeah, definitely support is a big part of it. And when we go back to accountability, it's about being a stand for someone and believing in them, knowing that they're capable, and that it's possible. There's possibility for whatever they envision. It's possible for them to move towards that. And I would say it's more so mentor than friend. Obviously, someone needs to feel safe and have trust, but it's someone that myself holding someone at their highest, knowing that they are capable.
Does one have to, get a certification or pass an exam or anything like that to become a coach like this?
Not necessarily. It's not highly regulated, although I have taken coaching courses that are certified. But in order to do transformational coaching, you're really creating a space for someone that can make those deep changes, especially when you talk about belief work. It's it's very deep work.
Well, I congratulate you for the transformational change you've done in your own life, and thank you for the work that you're doing with others. Maybe after the break, we can get you to read something from your book to see what you got to say.
Sure, absolutely.
We're going to take a break for 2 minutes for some messages and come back with Kristin Larsen, a transformational life coach and author, and we're going to hear something from his book. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Our topic tonight is change, transformational change. And our guest is Kristin Larsen, who's written a book, and he talks about what he tries to do with his book and his coaching is to produce extraordinary results that contribute to people increasing their potential, performance, possibility, and passion. The 4 Ps: potential, performance, possibility, and passion. Kristin, I wonder if you could read something from your book for us.
Sure, absolutely. And we were previously discussing accountability, and I expressed that I feel like that's a very important part of making any type of change in life. And I just want to start off by with a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer. All blame is a waste of time, no matter how much fault you find with another, and regardless of how much you blame him, it will not change you. And to expand on that, my definition or how I view accountability is taking accountability invokes action. It clears a path, eliminating distractions that can reduce a habit or halt your momentum toward what it is that you wish to change or achieve. And you will always be faced with challenges in life. Confronting those challenges while accepting responsibility for ourselves gives a much greater opportunity to achieve and succeed each day in life. And it starts with the phrase of just saying, I'm accountable. And when you're able to say, I'm accountable, you're creating choices, you're creating new perspectives. And that's one of the things that I've adapted as a habit for myself, especially when I've encountered any type of challenges in my life, just telling myself I am accountable. And it creates this confidence inside myself to know that I have everything within me to overcome this challenge.
Okay, so accountable is important, but you got to be accountable for something. You got to have set a something that you're accountable for. How do you go about setting that something that you're accountable for?
Again, this goes back to I would say integrity. Integrity is a big part of how we're showing up, how we're living in our life. And we talked about intentions before, the intentions that we're choosing, how we're living in our day, and being integrity to those intentions. So that
So,
would be, for me, accountability towards those things.
so do you have a couple of intentions that you write down and put on the wall or in a book, or like what is it that you're doing that you're then accountable for?
Yeah. So for myself, I start off my day with meditation, and after the meditation, I set my intentions of three things that I'm intending to be in my day, and they could change, but usually they're joy. So I want to show up in joy, and to be a loving presence, and to have inner peace. And so when I have that vision of those intentions, being in integrity to those intentions means taking actions that align with those and being accountable to those.
That's interesting. Um, Joy is an interesting word. How is joy different than happy or satisfied or love?
Yeah, that's a wonderful distinction, because they are not the same. So happiness is based on external circumstances, and joy is based on the internal creation within oneself. So the difference is that joy is not dependent on an outcome. It's it You can find joy in an outcome, but it's dependent on just presence and enjoying the experience and appreciating that experience. Whereas happiness is is based on more so either achievement or outcome based things.
That's interesting. You talked about accessing your inner leader. What's your inner leader?
So the inner leader is it's based on, your strengths, your past experiences, and bringing those things into this current experience, and being able to access all those strengths, and create possibilities for yourself. And knowing, and when you talk about integrity, I think that's what inner leadership is as well, is acting in integrity to the actions that you're taking as well.
You talk about connecting to your heart and letting up your soul. How do you do that?
Yeah, so that comes back to, for me, is compassion. I think that's a big component that's overlooked. And I know in a previous conversation we talked about compassion, and uh, being a man, I never grew up understanding what compassion was. But there's also different aspects to compassion that play a big part in our lives. And that comes with connection as well. So being able to identify to the common human experience, as opposed to when experiencing suffering or a setback, feeling that you're isolated in that experience and you're the only one experiencing that. Whereas there's many other people that are experiencing that as well. And then, of course, take a moment to give yourself kindness and to let yourself know that it's okay with what you're experiencing. So it helps to reduce and alleviate any guilt or shame in experiences as well.
I want to delve further, if I could, into this compassion issue. Uh, you you posted a recommendation, I guess, or a review of your book online, and it was kind of interesting. It was a registered psychotherapist, Monica, who you say said, "Processing emotions is such a complex topic, but you approached it with so much grace and understanding. The way you seamlessly blended concepts of self-compassion with mindfulness and other elements is impressive. I can distinctly sense the flavors of all these influences in your book. It was genuinely engaging and very well paced." So self-compassion with mindfulness and other elements. Tell me about, and this is processing emotions. So I guess it's dealing with triggers or something bad that's happened, and you're upset, or you're pissed off, or whatever it is. What's your secret on self-compassion with mindfulness?
Yeah. So what Monica, I believe what she's referring to is I I kind of gently, as it says, I gently guide the reader through helping them to have awareness and be present with any emotions that they're experiencing, and to also explore those with curiosity. And I think that's a big thing as well. So as opposed to approaching it from a place of trying to, in quotes, fix something, or when someone perceives having an emotion and what they're experiencing, they might feel is wrong. I lay it out in a way that helps someone to be curious and how they're approaching that. And there are steps that I help guide the reader through in order to help them process and understand what they're experiencing, using compassion as a way to help them feel safe, to help them feel comforted in through that experience. And then the mindfulness, of course, is having awareness and helping them to create that awareness when those emotions do come up.
You say that your book includes an abundant resource section offering guidance, guided exercises, and meditations to assist readers to reestablish presence and renew joy within themselves. What have you got in this resource section?
So it is quite an extensive resource section. So it looks at other qualities that help someone to experience joy, to help someone to be present in their life. So there's things such as looking at simple things such as laughter, being humble, being mindful in other things in their day, such as either eating, being able to acknowledge experiences, being able to one of the ones that I really like is become a student again. So even though we think that we're an expert in something or that we are very good at something, it's becoming humble again and looking at being a student to access joy again, to find the interest in something, because sometimes we're doing a job where it just seems like we're going through the motions because we can do it so well, but there's so much more to learn. And also within life, there's so much more to learn. And I think that's where the appreciating how vast it is to appreciate everything that there is.
You said that your Joy of Being Mindfully Present book includes 11 elements that explain how they contribute to the presence and joy in life. Can you share with us what the 11 elements are?
Absolutely. And if it's okay, I can try and memorize them all, but I'm just going to read them. I'm going to read them all out.
11 elements that explain how they contribute to presence and joy in life.
Yeah, and I will say that these elements they're not secret. Some of them are ones that we know about, but I've tried to expand on them. So, and there's exercises that go along with these. So there's exploring your core life values, gratitude, accountability, taking action, reflection, presence, savoring moments, breathing and meditation, creativity and tapping into your talents, acceptance of challenges, and flow.
What's flow?
So flow is, and again, like there's exercises, there's 4 weekly exercises that go with each one of these elements to help someone to understand what they are and to help them to take the action and do these things in their life. So flow, for me, that is, there's joy in flow, and that's when you're in the process of whatever you're doing and you're not thinking about anything else. You're just tapping into your natural abilities to do something in your own creative way. And time is no longer you're just so involved in what you're doing, and you're not thinking about time or anything else, and there's joy in that.
Acceptance of your challenges. How do you do that?
So I know accountability was a separate one, but that is also having accountability and being able to accept the challenges, to know that, and there's mindset in there as well. So knowing that there's opportunities from these challenges, and to look at it from a place of learning and growth. And that's how I feel I'm able to accept challenges, to know that there's an opportunity within those challenges.
So it's the old line about what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
I believe so. That's a great adage, and I live by that as well.
But I guess you've got to and you had this as one of your other things, is you've got to think about it, and understand it, for you to learn from it. You can't just sort of try to push it aside.
Yeah, that's right. And when you approach something from a perspective of learning as opposed to failure, and I believe that's another mindset thing with accepting challenges, is if you're approaching it from outcome based, that it's either going to be a success or failure, then it's going to deter you from wanting to accept challenges.
I think that your comment about presence is interesting. Some people think that presence is confidence without being arrogant. What do you think of that definition of presence?
Let me think about that for a second. Sometimes people think, can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Well, you talk about presence, and Amy Cuddy wrote a book about presence, and she said that really what it was confidence. That you had to be confident in yourself, but too often confidence becomes overconfidence and arrogance, and so therefore presence was what she used as the description for being present, and having presence in life, and in your job, in your family, in your life. But that meant that you were happy with who you were and confident with who you were, but you weren't arrogant, you weren't overconfident.
Yeah. And for me, what comes up with that is authenticity. So being able to have no fear. Well, I shouldn't say that. To be able to express yourself openly and to be able to stand by what you believe in and what matters most as well. And in that there's confidence, but it's not arrogance. It's just trusting in who you are and what you believe in.
You said there were 10 things that made your book excellent, an amazing book. What are those 10 things?
I'm going to be honest. I might not be able to name all of them, but definitely when we start from the beginning here, it's looking at the exercises, being able to form the habits around those elements, and introducing those elements. And I'm probably skipping into a few of these 10 things here, but incorporating those elements and helping someone identify that these basic elements, going back to the basics, because we often think that within our struggles and things like that, it's so complex, but it's really not. It's going back to simplicity, and these 11 elements that I'm sharing help us come back to simplicity and come back to the basics. And then the other thing was understanding processing emotions. So looking at exploring those with curiosity and gently moving through those and finding new ways to help us function in our day, in our daily life, through some of the steps that I share, and through exploring those as well, inviting someone to go as deep as they want to go. That was another key point with my book, is it allows someone with prompts and questions of curiosity, which I incorporate my coaching in here, is to help someone go as deep as they want to go to explore those things. And of course, the resource section. It's just an abundant resource section with meditations, self-guided meditations, exercises that help broaden someone's perspective on these different elements. And I would say opening the heart as well. I think that's a big thing, because if we're closed off, then it's hard to, number one, to process emotions, and number two, to really live into some of these elements that I'm sharing in the book.
The Joy of Being Mindfully Present by Kristin Larsen, and you can get on Amazon or everywhere
Amazon,
else.
Barnes and Noble, and if you're in Canada, Chapters Indigo online.
We're going to take a final break and come back with some concluding comments in just 2 minutes with Kristin Larsen, author of the book, The Joy of Being Mindfully Present. Stay with us, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. It's been a really interesting conversation for me tonight to chat with Kristin Larsen, who's just written and published a book called The Joy of Being Mindfully Present. I think there's a lot of truth in a lot of the comments that you've made today, Kristin, and I really appreciate that. I think a lot of people do go through transformation in their lives, and they need that that catalyst, whether it's a recognition that they hit bottom, or a triggering event, or just a frustration that they want to live a different life than they've lived. And I think that changing the beliefs that you talk about is a critical start in that process. Often it takes a coach or a mentor, or a walking on coals, or a something or other that inspires you to make that change. Sometimes it's a book. For me, it was the book The Alchemist. I'm not sure if you've ever read that book, but thinking about the omens in life, and that the universe, if you want something hard enough, the universe conspires to help you achieve it. Was really, when I read that as a teenager, really inspirational for me to want to set my goals and dreams and aspirations in life, and do those things that I thought were important for me to achieve them. I think that, in business, we often use this line about, if it doesn't get measured, it doesn't get managed. And I think that's true. And that's sort of your accountability point from a personal standpoint. But I think you got to know what you're measuring, whether it's profit or quality or sales in a business scenario. I think personally, you need to know what it is that's your objective. And so I think accountability is key, yes, but you got to know what you're accountable for. And so you got to set that objective. I thought your 11 elements were really insightful. I wonder if you wouldn't mind repeating those 11 elements for people, because I think it really is a roadmap to some of the change, the transformational change that you got to go through.
Absolutely. So element 1 in the book is core life values. And with that, I just help someone explore what it is. And when you say what you stand for, core life values are definitely something that someone stands for, how they want to live in their life. Core element number 2 is gratitude. And I help someone to broaden their perspective of what gratitude means for them in their life, and also opening a perspective of appreciation. Element 3 was accountability. And as we talked about accountability, being able to take accountability and understand why it's important to take that accountability in your life. Element 4 was taking action. And as the title says, taking action. So I go into a little bit about why it's important to take action and what that would mean to do that in your life, and what stops us as well. Element 5 was reflection. So this is more so helping someone understand why that's important to them in their life, and how they can actually do that in their life, and how that will benefit them. Element 6 was presence, and helping to give, and that's a word that's always tossed around quite a bit. And I helped in this chapter to help someone identify what presence means to them in their life. And later on in the book, that's another thing, is helping someone to understand why they want to be present, and what the obstacles behind why they're not. Element 7 was savoring moments. And it's not something that we often think about in regards to joy, but in this particular chapter, I help someone to look at how they can savor the moments in life, and foster that appreciation and gratitude within that. Element 8 was breathing and meditation. And of course, that's something else that's talked about quite a bit. And I help someone to look at how that could potentially change their life, and change how they're approaching their day in their life. Element 9 was creativity, tapping into your talent, and looking at how someone can incorporate that into their life to create more joy in their life, to create more presence in their life. Element 10 was acceptance of challenges. And we discussed this earlier on. And that was looking at what that would mean for someone to accept challenges in their life, and how they can go about doing that. And element 11 was flow, and looking at how we can be in flow in our life, and how that will add more joy in our life.
Kristin, that's really helpful. Thank you so much. I think that if I could underline 2 of those comments, and I could underline all of them, but 2 of them, I think that this reflection is critical. I took a course once on the theory of intentional change in a business school at the Weatherhood School of Business. And he said the vast majority of people do some of the things that you've said, but a journey is a process that has a cycle to it, and it's that reflection, that reevaluating whether what you were doing was right and was achieving what you wanted to achieve, which was the key differential in people actually ultimately attaining either success or their objectives in life. And the vast majority of people just sort of set on their course and assumed it would get there without thinking through that reflection and reevaluation cyclical process. And I thought that was interesting. And then, your comment about enjoying the moments, savoring the moments, I think is the word you used. I think that it is moments in life that make up life. It's those memories that we create, those moments that we are present for. Whether it's stop to smell the roses, or it's remembering that wonderful time on the beach, or that wonderful restaurant meal, or that wonderful hike on top of a mountain. Those moments end up being so critically important. I don't think we remember our whole life when we are sick or die or think about our life, but we remember specific moments. And so savoring those moments, I think, is so critically important. So thank you for sharing that. Remind us of the title of the book.
The book is called Joy of Being Mindfully Present. And if I may, I would just love to share an excerpt when someone first opens the book.
Please.
To all who choose courage to live in presence and be a source of joy. And the reason why I put that at the beginning of the book is because there's courage within that, and there's curiosity, and there's as well, as we talk about reflection, there's a lot of reflection in that and appreciation.
Well, I wish all of you courage, joy, presence, and some moments to savor this weekend. Thanks so much, Kristin Larsen, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us. I'll remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. on 960 AM. You can stream me online from anywhere at www.saga960am.ca. All my podcasts and video casts are available on my website, briancrombie.com. Check out my YouTube channel. I've got over 1,000 episodes now on Speakeasy and SoundCloud, and over 1,500 different interviews on YouTube. Check me out. Thanks, Kristin. Good night, everybody.